Have you noticed something strange in Yellowstone this season? We know that the new season just started and released only a couple of episodes so far. But still, we feel like there is an elephant in the room that surprised all of us. No, we don't refer to Jon moving from being a rancher to being a politician. Though it's also a huge change that we will unpack in the upcoming weeks. Well, the thing we refer to in this particular video is the major alterations in Carter's appearance in a single season. Now, to be fair, it hasn't been so long since the character entered the show, but still, we thought we knew him, up until he reappeared in the series in Season 5. Season 5 has begun with some major plot developments. As we mentioned, Jon became the governor of Montana, and immediately started to change every single deal that the state had with market equities, vowing to save Montana from these international companies. Then Beth became his right-hand woman and treated Jaime as if he is a little piece of garbage. Meanwhile, Casey and Monica lost their unborn baby in a very tragic car accident, which wrecked our hearts. When all these were happening, all the enemies of the Duttons started to outline their plan to topple Jon and save their interests in Montana. Overall, things have been very exciting and there were millions of things to discuss. And yet, the entire fandom has focused on one thing alone: the unbelievable transformation of Carter. Carter entered Yellowstone in Season 4. The actor, Finn Little, has impressed the creator of the show, Taylor Sheridan, in a previous project, to the point that Sheridan has written down the character of Carter just for him. So he ended up in Yellowstone as a lost boy who somehow met with Beth during a very horrific time for him. He lost the last family member he has and thus reached out to Beth as someone who could be helpful to him. He was right. Beth took him under her wings and made him a handy boy in Yellowstone. His initial entrance to the show was quite impressive, and for a second, it seemed like he was going to be like a son to Beth and Rip. And yet soon, Beth's own trauma came to the surface as she felt the need to remind Carter that she is not his mother and will never be. Poor Carter had to work really hard to make sure she will take him under her protection again, as he had no other choice in life. In the end, he became a stable part of the Yellowstone ranch, so much so that he started to go on morning rides with Jon. During his period, he was a little teenage boy with a slightly chubby figure and an adorable face. In a world of brutal adults, it was refreshing to follow a young character that's outside of all that adult drama. Then we came to Season 5, which changed everything. For a long time, Carter wasn't around in the show. Then he entered the scene. Well, at least someone whom we assumed to be Carter entered the scene. This new Carter was longer, thinner, and just overall had a completely different appearance. He was basically a different person. He had nothing to do with the former Carter that we liked in Season 4. Though when we look at his eyes, we could still see the naivety that he has. This major change shocked us all, leading many of the Yellowstone fans to run to social media expressing their feelings on Carter's unexpected transformation. So we're supposed to believe that Tate grew a year between seasons and Carter is paying taxes and planning for retirement? The fan asked. Well, we cannot help but agree with them. Who would change this much in a single year, right? Even Jon got surprised when he saw Carter in the show. He forbid him from getting even older, as watching Carter grow so fast made him feel like he is missing so much in life. We get you, Jon, we definitely get you. We also couldn't help but notice the similarities between Carter and the young Rip who is making an appearance during the flashback scenes. We are not sure if Sheridan has foreseen that Carter will basically be the young Rip in a year. Even if he didn't, he unconsciously managed to draw parallels between the two characters, placing Carter as the protege of Rip. We believe this season will witness Carter becoming more and more like a son to Rip and Beth, and he will eventually grow up to be the Rip Jr. Cole Hauser, who plays the part of Rip, explains his relationship with Carter as follows: "Listen, I was a hard ass on him. It's tough love in Season 4, and I don't think much has changed, but there's a little bit of, not kindness, but a little bit more of, okay, you're doing all the things that I expect you to do, and you're working your ass off, you're trying. And that's all you can ask from a young kid, and he sees a lot himself. So there are little diamonds that Rip gives him along the way for the season to help them grow, but still, very tough but strict when it comes to it. Things will clearly be not easy for Carter in the upcoming period, as being a Rip is not an easy job. But still, we are glad to have him in the show as a nice kid to follow." What are your thoughts on Carter? Were you surprised to see him as a grown man almost? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.